What's going on, guys? Black Scout Survival Late Night Live. Thanks for tuning in. So, we're going to talk about. I had some people commenting in the last video, I guess, because the Dakota Meyer, I guess, the topic has came up again on some comments he had made across social media. I know some other people have made videos about him as well, and so people are asking my opinion on him, and I just kind of want to talk about it because I think it's relevant. You know, if you look at just the basis of the topics, and then he made some follow-up statements, but if you look at like a law just passed thing in Virginia where they are saying that essentially you can't have any kind of militia training, firearms training. I mean, so how far that spans, I don't really know. I hadn't really dug into it. I just read the headline, but how detrimental that is to a lot of Americans. And that's just the foothold the government's taking to destroy the Second Amendment, along with everything else, pistol braces, bump stocks, you name it, and, I think if you say you're part of gun culture, if you're part of the Constitution, or you're pro-Constitution, you're part of, the gun community and all these sort of things, you have to be very careful, especially if you have a large following, you have some notoriety. You have to be very careful on things you say and how you say them, because they can be misconstrued in a lot of ways and carry a lot of weight, right? It's not like some regular Joe. I mean, Dakota Meyer received the Medal of Honor, and obviously he received the Medal of Honor, and he's a war hero. I mean, by all means, he's a war hero. But he basically said, I'm gonna play the video. He said some things about people wearing kit and what he's referring to as like plate carriers, helmets, these sort of things, while shooting on the range. And I'll go ahead and play the clip now. This was from like a year or two ago. I'm not really sure because I don't follow him, but this is the original clip. This is what caused the uproar. And there's a more recent podcast he did on his own podcast where he brought some other comments. So let's go ahead and play the first one real quick.
Acting like they're operators on ranges. Look, I just want to say this. Like, you're just trying to do what guys like Tim Kennedy, Mark Luttrell fucking really did. And if you're one of those people who thinks you're fucking tactical and you've never served,
I mean, just a quick observation. I feel like he could be under the influence just by his demeanor. He seems like he's mad, upset about something, but he definitely, to me, seems like he's under influence. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's personality. But anyway.
All you're doing is it's like fucking Halloween for you every time you fucking post on Instagram, right? Because you're just trying to dress up and be something that you never are. It's just so
dress up and pretend to be something you never are.
Instagram, right? Because you're just trying to dress up and be something that you never are. It's just so.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the case at all with people that go to the range and train in kit. I don't think they're trying to be anything. And if you post on Instagram, who cares? It's a free country. What does it matter what someone posts on Instagram? And trying to say that folks are trying to be like this guy or that guy, I think is a huge assumption, right? So I think it's a poor, I wouldn't post anything like that personally, but it was basically an attack. He seemed like he was upset about something. Maybe he's seen something, maybe he's, and I'm going to get in that in a little bit, but I completely disagree with all those things. First off, it's free country. Post whatever you want to on Instagram. It's your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, whatever you want to. Doesn't really matter, right? If it's not directly affecting someone else. By you getting triggered by what someone else's post says more about you than about them, in my opinion. And the other thing, though, is that referring to people training in military kit, garb, whatever, again, it's a free country. And, I think it's a responsible thing to do as a man to have these items. I'm going to talk about that towards the end of the video as well. But I wanted to play the more recent video because I think, he, and I'll preface what happens with this video. Essentially, he had on his podcast, he calls people or has people call in, and one of the guys that called in, I guess, is a guy that dresses in kit, goes to the range and shoots and things like that. So I guess we're going to have kind of a debate. And so he doubles down on some of the conversation. He brings up some other topics and some other things that I don't really agree with. And we'll just play it out and get to it. So again, this is from his podcast, and he labeled it "Gun Bunnies versus those who actually serve others." So gun bunnies is a defamatory statement for people who wear kit, take photos. Okay. And then those who actually serve others, obviously military and law enforcement.
When you posted I
Can't hear the other guy well at all.
believe it was like an Instagram live.
So he's referring to the video the caller is talking about. He said, I think you posted Instagram live. That's the one you just saw.
Was you think you're tactical, tons of knowledge as well, but
Make you mad?
less mad.
Oh, I think he's asked.
Better place. They're putting the gear on to take photos to post on.
Let me back it up.
Civilians on their own time. Like I said, I have to add they help us and pass on tons of knowledge as well. But
Yeah.
I guess you think you're tactical, but you've never served.
Yeah. So do you want to know? So do you want me to clarify that for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's more about these gun bunnies, right? It's more about these gun bunnies who are wearing gear, who don't go out and train, who don't take it serious, who aren't doing anything that's trying to make the world a better place. They're putting the gear on to take photos to post on Instagram.
Oh man, yeah, and I see it all the time. I see it.
And again, who cares? Who cares what other people do? Like, why does that bother you? I mean that there's a lot of fragility there. Like, I don't know why that would bother you. Who cares? They're not posting that to offend someone. You know, it could be marketing, it could be branding, or whatever their product they're selling or service or something, whatever it is. Maybe they're trying to get a bunch of YouTube out. Maybe they like photography. Maybe they like live action role playing. Maybe they like paintball. Who cares? Who cares what it is?
How does that make you mad?
Less mad. More it misrepresents the people who do care.
Yeah.
The people who actually are out there putting in work. I just think it really misrepresents them.
You hold on. You just said it. Hold on. What did you just say? That it does what? It misrepresents them? The people who actually
Absolutely.
put the work in?
I'd say people like you who have put the work in, people like me and my friends who are just regular everyday guys who are out there just putting in work to try to.
Bro, I love guys like you. So I want to say this. I love guys like you, right? I think it's awesome, right? I think everybody. Do you know how much easier a cop's job would be if people trained themselves and were ready to defend their own place themselves? Do you know how many?
Yeah, that great in theory, but how many people have been arrested for defending their own home? Right? I mean, you know,
less cops would have to give their lives to fix up.
No doubt. I mean, I don't want any cop coming to give his life. I should be able to defend my own home. But then you look at Uvalde where cops show up and don't really do anything. So
Other people's problems.
Oh man, I know it. We're out here training with state troopers and local police all the time. You could tell that they appreciate us as we appreciate them for actually going out and putting in the training hours and putting in the work and really figuring out how to do what they're supposed to do.
100%. So what else?
So let me just go back to that point. Obviously, I think every person should know how to defend themselves. I mean, with hands, with weapons, you name it. I mean, the fact is, I've known some cops that could not probably hit the side of a building with their Glock, to save their life. Because I've known some that carry a badge, failed a ton of times at the range, and are still carrying a gun out in the street. So obviously, you'd want them to go train on their own, right? But realistically, when you're looking at a cop's salary, can they truly afford that? Is the county paying for that? No, they'd rather take tax money and go put pride flags up in the town than actually fund the police right? Did we defund the police happen for years, right? That rhetoric. So the idea for him to try to go train himself, he may not have the money. He may have wife and kids. You don't know, kids with disabilities. Maybe you don't know what his circumstance is, but so it could be unrealistic. Obviously, we should expect that the training to come from the department, but for Dakota to say that. But again, I think it's everybody's responsibility to train. I think everybody should know whether you're a cop or not.
That one led kind of into number 2, which was, it's like Halloween every time you guys post on Instagram because you're just trying to dress up and be something that you never are.
And doesn't that apply to these gun bunnies?
Yeah, that absolutely seems to have been covered in the last one. I gotta ask with that, is it things like plate carriers and helmets? Is it usually that really irks you, I guess?
It doesn't irk me. I mean, why would you not have a plate carrier?
Well, I mean, I would say it did irk him because he felt the need that I need to make Instagram live, and he was upset. You could tell he was upset, and he referred to kit. What else is kit? When you say go put your kit on, or he's wearing kit, that's what we're talking about.
I mean, that would be saying somebody shouldn't be wearing plate carriers and shit like this. No, that's not it. That's not it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I mean, why? Like, did I say anything about, like, the problem is like these people, like, you know how the media spins up.
Oh yeah, I guess he maybe didn't say plate carrier and helmet, but maybe he needs to identify what kit is. Is kit wearing cargo pants that are camouflage? I don't know. Obviously, the community as a whole, when you say wearing kit, it usually means body armor at the very minimum, and maybe possibly a helmet. So wearing kit would mean that, but he's basically saying that he didn't say that. So maybe his interpretation of kit is something totally oblivious to the rest of us.
A bunch of negative shit. Do you like trust the media?
I don't.
So when Grand Thumb and all these other guys that you follow probably, when they go, none of them have approached me. When they go and spin this up to make...
That is actually a lie too. I actually saw a video where Grand Thumb had reached out to him to have him on his podcast or channel or something to discuss these remarks, and he basically went ghost. So that is actually not truthful.
Their followers make them more money and be more loyal to them. It's pretty fucked up, and it's no different than CNN. It's no different than Fox News. It's none of that. You're the first one who's ever asked me about this.
Yeah, and
I mean, I don't think, I guess he's wanting people to ask him about it, but you made a statement on a video. I mean, there's nothing more to be asked. I mean, it's pretty plain and simple what his statement was. I mean, yeah, I guess people could ask him, but the thing is, you made a statement on a video. What more do you need to ask?
really appreciate you being just upfront about everything, because it's important that you get your word in, because like I said,
military goes out to serve others.
Yeah, so this will get this point right here.
I really believed even at the beginning that your rant might have been fueled by some anger or maybe a bad day.
Well, it is, and what I also want to state though, and I want to make this clear though, like, because I do want to get this right, like guys who train to protect their own home, they ain't equal to the cops in the military who go and serve their country. And I'm going to tell you the difference. The guys who, they might be better. Look, look, there is no doubt I watch videos of guys who are, I don't know what that one kid's name is, but him running down the range, like, of course, dude, he could out.
So he does know who he is, obviously. He's probably referring to Lucas from T-Rex Arms. And, you know, he was saying that these guys are better. Yeah, I would say a lot of civilians are better than the military. You know, there's a lot of veterans that have like this elitist attitude that they're somehow better than civilians. And I really do hate that. It's like this vet bro thing in the community where veterans or military, I'm better than you attitude towards civilians, right? This is a path that we chose to join the military. It doesn't make us any better than anyone. It's something we chose to do. You know, obviously at certain times in history, it's been an honorable thing, but to have an elitist attitude, I don't really like that. But other thing is that for him to say he doesn't know who he's talking about Lucas from T-Rex Arms, again, who is a civilian. And a lot of people are triggered. A lot of veterans are triggered by Lucas from T-Rex Arms. Okay. And we'll come back to that statement in a little bit, or that talk about Lucas from T-Rex Arms.
Outshoot me all day long. He could outshoot most of us. But here's the difference. They train to protect their own homes. Cops go out to protect others.
So I want to get to that as well. Back to the Lucas thing. So Lucas, obviously incredible shooter, self-taught, I think for the most part is what he says. But if you took Lucas and put him against GBRS group, 2 SEAL Team 6 guys, I'd put my money on Lucas. Lucas would probably smoke the 2 SEAL Team 6 guys. That's how good this guy is, because he shoots all the time. He has his own range and everything like that. And so I think obviously he's incredible guy that actually upsets a lot of vets, because that it triggers him that he's, you know, more knowledgeable, maybe about firearms, better shooter, you know. But the thing is that, like I said, Lucas triggers a ton of people. He has a lot of knowledge, and he's civilians. And veterans are supposed to have, they're supposed to be the know-all, end-all, be-all, or whatever the statement is about tactical things. So it upsets the vets, right? Some of them, right? Now, I commend the guy. Great, get after it, dude, you know.
Military goes out to serve others. And I'll give you some statistics on it. And this is where I get really frustrated. There is a difference.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
So he's saying, you know, military and law enforcement go serve others. Yeah, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that that's what everybody wants to do in life, right? Not everybody wants to take that path. And there's nothing wrong with not taking that path. There's nothing wrong with just wanting to be a civilian. There's nothing wrong with wanting to train to protect yourself or your family, right? And so I think again, this is a elitist attitude, you know.
When people who didn't serve talk shit about cops who are serving,
the only people that are talking crap about cops are leftists, right? I don't think guys wearing kit training at the range are talking crap about cops. Usually they hang out with each other. They train alongside them, like this kid that is on the podcast talking to them do. So the only people that are talking crap about cops are people that hate America too. They'll burn the flag.
When they talk shit about military who's gone over and been in gunfights, it's not the same.
So the gun bunnies, what he calls gun bunnies, aren't the ones doing that. So I think this is a fruitless argument that he's having. Those people are people that hate America, usually vote Democrat, maybe Antifa guys that are saying they hate cops, hate military. The guys that are wearing kit training at the range are not saying that about police and military. So again, fruitless argument. I don't even know why he's bringing this point out, other than try to get some kind of leverage.
It's just not. You know, the last time I checked, you know, do you know how many like of all these guys who shoot on these ranges all the time, how many of them showed up to the protests last year to help? And how many riots did they hold off of these cities?
Yeah.
There's an opportunity. There's an opportunity. I know of one. Do you know how many cops were shot and killed last year?
So he's saying that people could have went to riots. Well, what would have happened? They wound up in jail. We saw Kyle Rittenhouse going through a lengthy legal battle, and not to mention a lot of these places. A lot of these riots happened in blue states where the police were allowing the leftists, Antifas, and BLM to torch the cities and not stop them. So if the cops aren't even going to stop it, do you think the civilians should go do it and then get arrested? I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse got attacked and got arrested. He defended his life. So again, this is, you know, I mean, that argument, while good, yeah, it should be that way. In a perfect world, we should police ourselves, and when things like this happen, we show up in kit and stop it. However, that's not going to be the case. You know, you're gonna be in jail. Your wife and kids are going to move on, and you were trying to protect the blue state, right? Someone that didn't, a state that didn't care about you or your beliefs or ideologies.
2022, 64. Do you know how many cops were shot, injured, wounded in a gunfight in 2022?
I don't.
323. Not at their own houses, protecting their own houses, going to protect others.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a big fundamental difference.
I love those guys, man. Like I said, those guys are running alongside us all the time.
Yeah, they do. And we appreciate the training we get from you all, right? Like they appreciate the training they get. I mean, you guys can shoot on you guys can shoot like motherfuckers all day long, right? Like y'all are good at it. Y'all know this shit better than I do. Guarantee you know more about military gear and guns than I do. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. But the difference is these guys, I mean, they go to like serve others, and we can't forget that, and we can't stop making that important.
No, I get that, and
yeah, I mean, again, I would agree with you if you were talking to a leftist. No one is making the military or police unimportant by posting them shooting at the range in kit. Gun bunnies, even the girls who dress up in bikinis with guns, is not taking anything away from military and law enforcement. If anything, I commend anyone who does that because they're promoting gun culture. Regardless, they're taking photos, holding firearms, and placing on the internet. You're promoting gun culture, like the shirts we sell here, right? That's why I told you we made this shirt so we can help promote gun culture, right? It benefits us all. Regardless, I don't think it takes anything away from military and law enforcement. I feel no offense to someone doing that. I see kids dressing up, doing what I think it's airsoft or paintball, and they'll dress up like a Marine Corps unit wearing Marine Corps garb. I have no issue with that. Like, it's America. Do whatever you want. You're not stealing valor. You're out there playing a game. I don't really care. Would I do it? No, but I don't care if you do it, right?
Also understand that with all the effort that people are putting in on their own time.
I'm gonna fast forward a bit.
It doesn't matter. Look, you're right. You want to tell you what frustrates me is all these people want to put all this time and effort in to train, and they are so qualified, probably more qualified than most of these men and women who are out here with the badge on the streets. Would you agree?
So he's saying just put on a uniform, right? Just go join the military and put on a uniform. I mean, let me show you a clip real quick of someone currently, an officer in the Navy, real quick.
Able to deploy on the USS Gerald R. Ford last fall, and the coolest thing I did on board was to be able to participate in a LGBTQ spoken word night, and I was able to read a poem that I wrote to the whole ship, and that was probably the culmination of the whole deployment. And I was able.
The culmination of her whole deployment was her reading at an LGBT open mic night. So you should join the military? I mean, honestly, I wouldn't recommend it anymore. I wouldn't recommend joining the military anymore. Not with this kind of nonsense. This is an officer. This is somebody you salute right here. I woke up from the Kool-Aid, guys. I did. I used to believe it. I used to drink it. I had a fist fight over this kind of stuff. But you know, being a hired gun, risking your life for the military industrial complex, and I don't just mean in combat, guys. Dudes die in training all the time. I mean, a dude died in my boot camp platoon, right? During the final portion of training, the Crucible. I don't know if they still do that or not, but literally, dude died in the Crucible. He was about to become a Marine and died. I was also on another training exercise one time where a Marine was on top of a Humvee on a mounted machine gun, and they took a curve, flipped, the Humvee landed on the dude and killed him, right? In training. So I don't drink that Kool-Aid anymore. You know, I'm just not about that anymore. You know, it's a lot of stuff with talking about your family. You go protect. He's talking about going to protect others or protect your family, but family comes first. And I'll get to that more in a second. But let's let him chime out here more.
I would.
Okay,
I would. And,
but you know what? No, the problem
that's
is.
another reason,
You know what the
another
problem
reason
is?
I feel it's really important that we get out and help the community, and the community includes the Army base and the law enforcement.
But you want to know? But you want to know? Go a little bit further. Where my problem with it is?
Yeah.
Then why don't they put the uniform on and go serve?
Because this is America, and maybe they don't want to. Simple as that. Again, I don't think it makes you any more of a man to wear a uniform, right? I don't think it makes you any better of a human being to wear a uniform. And there's plenty of ways that you can be successful in life without having to join the military or being a police officer. There's a ton of ways that you can help others and you can serve others, right? That doesn't require that. Now, I chose that path. I did. And am I glad I did? I am. Would I do it in this current time frame of the world? Not a chance. Not a freaking chance. And I'm going to tell you why in a little bit.
Personally, I don't think that everybody who's willing to be violently capable, to put it lightly, I don't believe that everybody who's willing to take those steps should serve. I don't think.
So you don't think that our level of
ready
police
to
would
do
be
that.
raised? You don't think that our level of police would be raised? You don't think that the training and the quality of service that police would be able to give if we had more people who were qualified, trained, able bodies? I mean, we don't even have enough police staff.
I agree with you 150%. I think that there needs to be regular people that are capable as well. I do agree that there's peers around me who are actively pursuing the military and work alongside me in the civilian world, and they're super excited to get into the Army right now.
Yeah, and that's good.
I have friends in the fire service, and we're trying to raise money for a search and rescue team right now, which is, I'd like to get into that as well. But man, I agree with you that the standards are raising all across the board. And if we add those people to the service or to the law enforcement in our areas, I do think it would be a better place.
And you're right. And the difference is that
there would also be a great benefit if all of us became doctors or all of us became engineers or a multitude of other professions in the world. So that's the thing. Everybody has a calling. We can't all be cops and soldiers. I think, someone just made a great comment that he's really trying to diminish self-reliance and preparedness with these statements. You know what I mean? That you should only do these things to go serve the community. I'm a huge proponent of self-preservation, and obviously, man, is it honorable to serve others? Absolutely. Is it everybody's chosen path in life? No, I know that. No, it's not. You know what I mean? I couldn't be a doctor if I wanted to. I'm too dumb. So it's just some of us are called to do different things, right?
And
there
my
needs to be regular people too.
Listen.
Capable and willing.
Do you think? Yeah, 100%. Everybody should. That should be the bare minimum. That should be the standard. Like that should be the bottom of the barrel standard.
Exactly.
I mean, it's your home. I mean, it's your life. They're threatening your life, not somebody else's. Like it should 100% be yours. At the end of the day, I'm never going to back off the fact that the men and women who put a uniform on to go serve others, not just train to protect themselves, but who leave their own families to go serve other families, they are the most amazing human beings.
So this is where I just like kind of shake my head, because no one is saying that they're not amazing human beings. No one's saying that they're not, honored for what they do. Literally, this all came about because of his statement about how he feels that people are, it's like Halloween when they go to the range and dress up in kit, right? So let me move forward just a minute.
Burned down, and guess who still responded to all those cities being burnt down? Also, people need to go serve others. And when I see people training, I see a shit ton. I'll tell you this, all these founding fathers and guys being willing to protect communities, I still watched our cities burn down, and guess who still responded to all those cities being burnt down? Guess who went and responded to it? Men and women in uniform.
I've seen a lot of them allow it to do it. I've seen Chop, Chaz, whatever they called it, the sanctuary place for leftists, where they basically, the police turned the city over to their own community. I saw cops stop guys that were carrying ARs or wearing plate carriers from even going into an area for places being burnt down. I've seen small business owners lose their businesses in mass because cops did not stop it. I saw Kyle Rittenhouse get arrested and get put on trial for defending his life to go try to stop businesses. So again, that argument I don't think is a valid argument either.
Usually it was the local police, man. I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you.
So my point is, and that's it, right? I've never said, I want to clarify. I've never said, I think everybody should have body armor in their home, right? I think why would you not?
So yeah, I don't know why. I think he took this route because no one's going to argue with it. No one's going to say, yeah, well, the guy that he's talking to obviously is not going to argue the point. He respects military and law enforcement. And so Dakota's saying that he said all of this to respect military and law enforcement. So I'm going to play his clip again from the Instagram Live and tell me, do you get that he's upset because these people on the range wearing kit are disrespecting military and law enforcement, right?
Acting like they're operators on ranges. Look, I just want to say this. Like, you're just trying to do what guys like Tim Kennedy, Mark Luttrell fucking really did. And if you're one of those people who thinks you're fucking tactical and you've never served, all you're doing is it's like fucking Halloween for you every time you fucking post on Instagram, right? Because you're just trying to dress up and be something that you never are. And it's just so.
So yeah, I didn't get that at all. I didn't get this was anything. This Instagram Live post was nothing about people discrediting military and law enforcement. He was basically saying they're tactical wannabes that aren't as good as being military. And so they shouldn't basically be posting this stuff online. That's what I got from it. Maybe I'm a moron. I never said I was smart. So anyway, a couple things here though. So Dakota Meyer, people asking me what I think. Well, I'm a constitutionalist and I believe in the freedom of speech, and I believe that Dakota Meyer can pretty much say whatever he wants to say. Right? He can say whatever he wants to say. A lot of people say, hey man, Second Amendment, Second Amendment, but a lot of people forget about the first. He has the freedom of speech. He can say whatever it is he wants to say. But freedom of speech does not mean that I have to agree with you, right? You can say something and I don't have to agree with what you say. Okay. I remember I did a video about Gwen Berry, the Olympic athlete that turned her back on the flag and the national anthem as it played. And I got a lot of blowback because people were like, well, man, you say that you believe in the Constitution, but you're condemning her freedom of speech. And I said, no. She has freedom of speech to do that, right? Whatever, freedom of her expression or whatever, but also have freedom of speech to talk against it. Just because I don't celebrate whatever your statements are, or it doesn't mean that I don't believe in your free speech. It's also like the trans children propaganda. They want you to celebrate this, but in their ideologies, but we don't have to. This is America. Newsflash, right? Newsflash. This is America. The same thing when random Joes want to call you out on the internet, and you're supposed to just take it and sit back and not say anything because their freedom of speech. No. When I get in your behind and then you get all triggered about it and you make endless YouTube videos about me because I tore off into your behind because you said something, it's freedom of speech, right? And my freedoms, just like your freedoms for you to say whatever you want to say, my freedoms allow me to say what I want to say about and maybe call you out or whatever you want to call it, to talk about and discuss the things that you said. But in my opinion, what I get from this, and this is just me reading this, I could be totally wrong. I don't know Dakota Meyer personally. I've never spoke to him in my life. But I think I sense what I would perceive as jealousy. I think that if you go making a post about someone or something that has not directly attacked you, has not directly confronted you, that is probably something underlying jealousy. Maybe you need to look at the mirror and say, hey, why am I getting triggered about this? Because let me tell you, a lot of times when you have hate for someone for no good reason, it's probably because you need to look inside yourself. You have something inside of you, maybe some jealousy, some envy that is triggering you to hate this individual, And I see this among many vets when they see other veterans outdoing them, right? Oh, I should be the one with the Instagram followers, or they see civilians doing military stuff that, skill sets better than famous, than veterans, and then they get famous for it. And they get very perturbed about that. There's no way the civilians should get famous because I'm the veteran, right? And I see this happen a lot, but it happens a lot with veterans. Veterans lately, man, I see a lot of them get very triggered because another vet's outdoing them. We saw Dan Crenshaw attack David Goggins. We see these things where other veterans are outdoing other ones because they're putting in the work, they're putting in the hard work, because it requires hard work. You just don't fall out of bed and be successful. And they get upset about it, right? But again, I don't follow Dakota. I don't watch him. I literally pay him no attention, right? And the things I've seen from him, he just don't seem like the type of guy I'd even want to hang around, to be honest with you. I don't have a superiority complex, but I think a lot of vets do. I feel like by his statements, I would almost assess that he has a superiority complex, and maybe he should. He has a Medal of Honor, right? I don't have that. He's a war hero, right? But I could be wrong, but I think the vet bro stuff is really coming into play here, and I'm aware that he's in a vet bro circle of some other guys that nor do I follow any of them or like really any of their content either, and I'm not telling you who you should follow or not follow. I don't really care either. But it's just I'm telling you what I do, right? Dakota has a ton of things I don't agree that he said over the years. I remember many years ago, he said something about wanting to give money for aid for something for Muslims, women, or something. I don't even know. I don't recall. But I remember posting on his Instagram at that point in time. This is a long time. This is like maybe 8 years ago, and I didn't agree with what he said, and I'll have to, and he can believe whatever he wants, right? That's the way the world works, or America should work. He can say whatever he wants, and I can say whatever I want, and but he's also got, and this is kind of disturbing to me, just kind of the type of individual he is he has this on his Instagram account here. A picture with him and General Milley, and this was just recently, and this was like literally a few weeks ago, and he posted, "Honored to stand in the room with such an incredible human being," right? So, yeah, I don't know. This is the type of guy I drink a beer with. I don't know. He's a Marine. I'm a Marine. He's a Medal of Honor recipient, war hero, but I don't know. I don't think we have the same ideologies, but. He's got the nation's highest honor, and I respect that, but respect him. I respect his service. I'd call him a war hero. And, yeah, he did incredible things. I don't know if I'd have the fortitude to do what he did. Right. But the thing is that this doesn't mean that his word is gold. Okay. It also doesn't mean that if you see a guy with a Navy SEAL badge on their chest, that their word is gold, or if they got a green beret or green hat or whatever, a Ranger tab, or they have a Eagle Globe and Anchor. If they have a bunch of followers on YouTube or Instagram, it doesn't mean that their word is law. Okay. I mean, that's the thing. I think a lot of people let ego get to them. I told my wife early on, before I even, when I first started down the social media realm, that I said, if I ever started, getting egotistical, I told her, believe my own bullshit, like, tell me and I'll quit. I'll walk away from it. I think it happens to a lot of people, and I've remained like a normal guy. I don't think I'm special at all, but I know a lot of people that do. I've been around them. I've been around guys with less followers than me that act like they're Brad Pitt, literally. Like, I mean, that would disgust you. These may be some guys you follow that have less followers than me even, and they act like they are freaking Elvis Presley, right? They're God's gift. And, I don't like that. I don't like those type of people. I don't hang around a lot of them, but going back to basically the big picture here. The big picture is this, is that I think the masculine thing today, in today's world, in today's time, and probably, I mean, to be honest with you, since the forming of the world, is to be prepared, right? And our American values are rooted in that. And it's rooted in being the citizen soldier, right? I believe that every man should own a rifle, a pistol, a gas mask, night vision and helmet. Right? I believe every man should own these things. Wear it, use it, train in it. And I learned a lot in the military. I'm not going to lie. I did. It definitely helped me. I can get into the whole story why I joined the military another time. I think it'd be a good story. Maybe you guys appreciate it. But to this day and age, it wouldn't be my recommendation. I learned a lot. I appreciate it. I love my brothers in there as well. And I appreciate other people's service, whatever branch you're in. I appreciate your service, cops, EMS, whatever, the blue collar workers. I appreciate everybody that's out there working to make this country great, because you don't have to be wearing a uniform, right? There's truck drivers right now driving across America carrying food, right? There's nurses right now. I know they watch my channel on third shift, night shift at the hospital. Sometimes they'll comment, right? There's a lot of people that make they're a cog in making the America go round. Okay. And I appreciate all them, but you can, talking about the military thing, you can literally pretty much do all the fun stuff as a civilian and probably get better quality training. Because to be honest, in the military, usually it's another military guy that he got trained by another guy that got trained, and then you're getting, by the time you get it, it's you're 20 tier from the actual guy that knew what he was doing, right? And so you can do all the stuff, and get trained from all kind, and you don't have to do none of the nonsense. You don't have to pull duty on Saturday night. You know what I mean? You don't have to do these sort of things. You can lift weights, you can shoot, you can mountain climb, you can rappel, you can skydive, you can do combatives. You can make your training your lifestyle. I mean, that's what I live this lifestyle, and have it focused. Focus on the things that you really want to focus on. There are certain things that I focus more on than other things. I focus tremendously on fitness because I know it's the cornerstone to your success in most everything. I've focused a lot on combatives, focused a lot on survival. These are my core things I really focus on, right? But instead of being in the military where they decide on what you learn and where you learn and who you learn it from, you can make that decision, right? But he's saying protecting your family versus protecting others, while yes, it's noble to protect other people, right? But do you think I want to die for the profitability of Halliburton or Lockheed Martin or funding the military industrial complex? Do you think I want to die for that? Do you think I want my kids to grow up without a father because of I was fighting to defend the blue-haired liberal that was burning the American flag and calling me names because of my belief system, right? And then, like I said, my family comes first, like number one. And think about how many guys that have been killed and their wife and kids have moved on. Wife's calling somebody else baby and the kids are calling somebody else dad, right? And that's a sad and dark way to put it. But I woke up from the Kool-Aid. I did. I believed it. But I think, again, he has his opinion. He can say all those things. And, hey, man, have the freedom and say whatever more you want to say. It really doesn't matter. But I can also say what I want to say as well. But we'll run over some super chats real quick. Florida Sheepdog says June 11, no more fish antibiotics. Of course, man, they're going after everything, brothers and sisters. They're going after everything. That's why I talk about the NMN and stuff like that. They're going after everything. Bobby Bear said he saved a buck on some turkesterone, arrived next day. Awesome. I already noticing a difference. Good to hear, man. Infiltrate Paintball said the day after he took actual training course, he went and played paintball and was a different monster out there. Actually, absolutely nothing beats training. Florida Sheepdog, it's the black rifle coffee mentality that if you're not a vet, you're a LARPer, but we do it out of pocket for no pay. Absolutely good thing, and I will never say that. I'll never call any civilian a LARPer. I think that's a dumb thing to say whenever our country was literally founded on civilians carrying, and me and my buddy Mark was actually talking a little bit before I started this live, and he was like, the forefathers wanted every civilian, every man from, like 14 to carry a fire starting kit, to carry a hatchet, a knife, a musket, lead balls, these sort of things, right? This is what our country was founded on. And I think we've really lost our way from that, right? Cherokee Survival, that is a nut and is a wannabe, is great. Thank you, Cherokee Survival. And Eric says the military are the ones LARPing. Those civilians that took arms to establish the country, the military is just because civilians led it. Yes, the country was founded on civilian citizen soldiers, Minutemen. All right. So anyhow, guys, I'd be very curious to know your thoughts. Again, it's free country, man. He can say whatever he wants to say. I'm not triggered by what he says. I don't really care what he says. I don't ever have to see this guy ever in my life. Again, he's a war hero, and I respect that. I respect that, and I respect him for what he did. However, again, never put people on pedestals, no matter who they are. We're all human, and I think that's a lot of times the problem within our current place in civilization, and that people place these folks because of social media on some kind of pedestals, like they're perfect, or they're without reproach, or they can't be, you can't talk to them because they have this badge or this resume, and to me, and I always say this, that I don't really care. A lot of people get spun up on people's resume. I really don't care about a resume. I really don't, because I've been around the guys with those resumes, and a lot of these guys weren't that impressive. It's like, you see the top tier guys, right? You see the David Goggins, you see the Jocko Willinks. Not all of them are like that, though, right? You're seeing the top level. That's why they're successful outside of the military, because these guys were the ones that were successful in. But not all of them are that way. So basing a whole community off of a couple outliers that are highly successful, highly motivated, disciplined individuals is a falsehood that I think a lot of people live under. But I've been around them, right? And some of them aren't that impressive, with various patches and emblems of whatever unit or organization they're a part of. It just didn't impress me that much. So I don't care about what your resume says. I care about what you are right now, what you're doing right now. What do you say right now? What do you do right now? What do you believe in right now? Right? What are you putting out at this moment in time? I don't care what you did 20 years ago. It doesn't matter to me. But again, I'm a different type of individual. But anyhow, I just want to let you guys know my thoughts because a lot of people are asking me about it. He's a fellow Marine, and obviously I respect him for being a Marine as well. But again, he has his constitutional right to say those things. So be it. I also have the right to say mine. And I also believe in the Second Amendment, right? To the fullest, right? And I believe that any law is infringement. That means felon should be an own firearm, you name it. I believe in all. Machine gun, where are they at? Where's the rocket launchers? I want to pick one up. So anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys. I'd like to know. I'm curious to know. And again, never as a civilian feel or let people make you feel that you're any less, because you're not. You just chose a different path in life. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I chose this, right? It's what I chose to do. You don't have to do that, right? You may be a freaking mechanical genius. I couldn't work on a car to save my life, right? So the thing is that we all have things we're good at, or just different paths in life we chose. Anyhow, guys, let me know your thoughts. Remember to always stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Take care.